Have you ever answered a call for submissions? I'm Hazel. This is Hazel Anaka Design, and this is what we're talking about in today's video. So, it's not a secret that I love collage. It is also not a secret that I interviewed Kelly from Collage Lab in my Heart to Heart series. I believe that interview, well, it's part of my overall playlist on my channel. I believe it was in November of 2025. Anyway, you learn about somebody new. One thing leads to another. I subscribed to her newsletter. I registered for her Amuse Bouche class. And that brings me to today. Now, every time I'm prompted or asked if, can we have your email? Like I'm talking retail. Can we have your email? We'd like to send you some stuff. And the cynic in me just rises up and I say, how are you going to send me crap every 3 times a week or what? So, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with signing up for newsletters and other email outreach by retailers or whatever. However, I think in the arts community or in our creative lives, there are definitely some people that we should be subscribing to. And Kelly is probably one of them at Collage Lab. And of course, everyone is going to make their own decisions regarding that based on, how full your inbox is, how much time you have for even opening and reading these things, as well as, what your particular focus is. So that's my shtick about emails or email subscriptions. Some people are very hard sell, and that might be a turnoff. So again, make those decisions for yourself. Anyway, let me finally get to the point and tell you what this is about and why I am considering doing this call for submissions, call for artists, because I think it's a worthwhile decision or discussion to have. So, Kelly, Collage Lab. Not surprising that she would be interested in and affiliated with World Collage Day. And you can be forgiven if you didn't know such a thing exists. However, with enough lead time, you can probably get the day off work and really celebrate. Just kidding. Don't want anyone losing their job. However, if you fall ill on May 9th, it's just one of those things. Okay, so World Collage Day this year is happening on May 9th. Kelly is putting out an international call for artists. The theme for this is community is. Now, in the past, okay, so when I interviewed Kelly, we found that she had a number of books to her credit. And I guess that these compilation type books for World Collage Day are part of in her list of titles. So just again, I'm kind of belaboring this because there's still time for people to consider submitting some work for consideration. There is no prize as such, but you do get publishing credits, or you do get included in this book if your work is chosen. So, I just have some cheat sheet notes here to try to help me remember to tell you all the details. So, okay, why would I even consider this? frankly, at this moment in time, and this is Friday the 13th, Friday, March 13th, I don't know yet if I will be entering. You should know that there is an entry fee. It's not onerous, but there is, there is a cost to do this because I guess, poring over these submissions is, I'm sure, challenging and labor-intensive work. And I think it's also a way to, maybe separate the wheat from the chaff and the serious from the not so serious and whatever. It's just be aware there's a fee. So I love doing collage, so I hardly need a reason to do it. However, if a person is going to do it, sticking with the parameters of a particular call for artists adds another layer of, you know what? Why don't I put some hand lotion on while I'm just doing all this talking? Following the parameters exactly, to the T, because you don't want to pay and get disqualified because you couldn't read and understand the directions. So obviously paying attention to the strict call for submissions is important. In this case, let me refer to my list. The entries must be circular. Now, because, this is obviously an online submission process. In other words, nobody's mailing any original art to anybody. There was no specification about circles. So you can see that I cut mine fairly large. Now I want not to get my lotiony hands touching anything. So it's just over 7 inches. Okay, so it's circular. I just made it bigger. I could have probably done a little 4-inch circle, but I thought that's so itty bitty. So just for ease of working, I chose a bigger circle. A maximum of 6 entries. The submissions can be analog, in other words, a paper collage. They can be a digital collage. They can be mixed media, or they can be assemblage. And the subcategories are red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. So I thought, okay, I love separating my stuff, sorting my stuff, primarily by color. This should be a good thing. Plus, of course, there is that additional challenge if you're working in one color family, in one colorway, that you have to be able to create definition, focus, blah, 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 all those composition factors in ways other than color changes. So, for all those reasons, I thought, okay, why don't I do this? If it turns out, when all is said and done, that I don't like them, I don't think they're worthy, I choose not to pay the entry fee, no harm done. I will still have 6 beautiful, relatively speaking, 6 beautiful collages. Be positive, woman. Be positive. Okay, so now I think you know everything. So what I did, and I don't know that this is the best advice I could ever give anyone. I'll tell you what I did. I chose a page in my sketchbook. So it was mixed media paper. And I drew a circle by tracing a bowl or something or other. Anyway, you can see there are my marks. It is not easy to make sure that your pieces, that it stays a nice circle when you're looking at something in a book. So I thought, well, this is kind of dumb. So then I got the bright idea, oh, hey, now that the glue is dried, maybe I can salvage some of this. So then I thought, okay, that's ridiculous. I want to be able to have my pieces go over the edge and then trim off as necessary. So I got this, I think it's called Manila Tag. And I began working on the other ones. And I was kind of, I didn't look, over hill and dale to find different papers. I was trying very hard to use what was in reach. You know what? I'm going to be able to reuse some of these pieces. This wasn't coming off so nicely when I first tried to do that. Sorry, but I do need to do this. Okay, so by having my circle pre-cut, and a circle is a challenge in itself, let's just say that. Okay, by having my circle pre-cut, if, as I'm gluing, things extend past the edge, no problemo. But here you can see I was having difficulty getting a nice curved edge because, not only are you trying to make your goldfish fit, but anyway, it wasn't, for me, it just wasn't working. So, I always want to try to learn from my mistakes and, again, change strategies or change techniques as soon as possible. I will reuse this. Okay, so let me show you what I have, because a few of these are getting closer to completion. So that would have been my orange one. This is a problem. I don't know if I want to show you that one. Well, maybe let's start with this blue one. Okay, so when I took Kelly's free class, 6 collages in 60 minutes, one of the things I learned is that one legitimate underlying structure for collage is called cruciform. So in other words, shape of a cross. And you don't want it, like a bullseye. You don't want it dead center in either direction. And you start out with a line. So here were my original lines. And essentially you're treating your 4 quadrants individually, but also as part of the unit. So this is fine. It's got all sorts of variations of blue. It's got some interesting kind of mark making things. It's got some potential areas of interest with the people. I do not think that this is complete. So because, did I tell you that the deadline for applying to be considered is April 10th. So I do still have some time. So in my typical strategy, I'm going to prop these up somewhere and keep looking at them until I feel that it's as good as I can make it, or that I'm happy with it. Now I have to say that, like this one, yes, it's a cross form, but when I was laying out my original pieces of paper, I had it askew. So I didn't have it upright like this. I had it like so, and that's how I was arranging my papers. However, once it came time to start what I thought I was improving it with, which was adding these kind of more interesting elements, the people, the only way that I could, to my mind, the only way I could do that was to sort of go with the perpendicular. So I don't know if I'm explaining that very clearly. So this little piece obviously belonged to this little piece. Now, if I would have kept this off center, I would have had to cut that, maybe like so. So I think that's maybe where I began to hurt my layout. Now, there is also the very distinct possibility that I'm overthinking this. Oh, dear. So I don't know. I'm going to let this be for the time being. Put that out of reach. Oh, that's kind of nice. Propped up there on my keyboard. Okay. I will show you the orange or yellow one later. Okay, this is what I have. Uh-oh. This is what I have for my green one. And maybe at this stage of the game, you can see a little more clearly what I'm talking about. So if we're looking for the cruciform shape, it's there and there. So it's more exaggerated than in that blue one I just showed you. And again, because I was just scrambling around for what was within reach, I picked these solids and kind of scattered them around because I also wanted value differences, darks and lights and so on. Now here I have a tree line that I've fussy cut. And of course a watermelon, because like wouldn't you put a watermelon in the foreground and trees in the background? I included these limes. I included these leaves. But I still didn't think it maybe was as good as it needed to be. So I found this, this is a circle template. And I can't remember where I was considering, but I think I was thinking of putting it there. Now, because maybe this one is slightly easier for me to add a focal, I was thinking if this is a focal point. I was kind of sad I would be covering up those limes, but hey, them's the breaks. This one may be a better composition just because the cruciform form is still pretty visible. I guess the only thing I'm thinking about at this point is by adding kind of a focal point that is this different. Like there's a lot of white in here compared to anywhere else on this. There's this awning type stripe in two places. It seems to me that that this may be a problem. I don't know where this broke off, but maybe there or there. I just don't know. And maybe in the world of collage, it's perfectly adequate to not have a focal point. Just let it be what it is. Let it be a fun romp in color world. I don't know. I don't know. Now, the other thing I could do is forget about trees. Let trees grow upside down if they must. And put the focal point somewhere else. Hey, that might be a more interesting setup. Now, because of its size, I'm also intersecting, well, I'm actually having, if I were to glue it there, I'm having it intersect all four of those lines. You know what? I think I like that better. I'm so glad you guys are here because look at that. Talking my way through it for your benefit has helped me. Now, I still don't have this, switching it over like this still hasn't given me any more white in the background. But maybe I don't need to care about that. So let's just let this be a video where something actually happens instead of me just talking. So I'm going to glue this down where I had it. And I just realized my voice is very, getting a sore throat again. I don't know what the heck is going on. That seems to be a recurring theme for the last month or two. Okay, now I still am not sure that I like these, but I could also, there's nothing stopping me at the end from going in. Hey, that could solve my white problem too. I could go in with paint pens, Poscas or gel pens or something, and add some mark making, because that is just like, look here, look here, look here. It's so different from everything else around it. Okay, so I'm going to glue this down because I like where it looks. Maybe dark glitter glue would be better. Oh. And then reserve the right to add some mark making as I complete this. Okay, so we're kind of right about there. Because, you know, the minute you pick it up, it's like your mind totally goes blank. Where is the... I typically have a corsage pin or something similar. Oh, goodness, where did it go? Oh, there it is. To poke through the dried up guck. You guys will be just as relieved as I will be when I get to a scrapbooking store and buy a new tip for this bottle. So I would like to know in the comments below whether or not you have ever, in any format, you know, whether it was a juried call for submissions for an art show, like, you know, in person, walk through a gallery space kind of call for submissions, or an online thing of some sort. Have you ever stuck your neck out and done that? If not, why not? If yes, were you chosen to have your work included? If not, were you heartbroken? Or did you think, okay, this is a learning opportunity, and maybe that did it. This is a learning opportunity. All I gained was, or not all, but one of the things I gained was the experience of putting myself out there. I know there's a lot of, you know, particularly these days, I'm really glad I don't have school-age children. But there's, for a while there, I don't know, maybe the pendulum has swung back on that. There was this whole thing about no kid should ever fail, like fail a grade, fail a course. And it was this artificial world that had been created by some school boards that no teacher was allowed to fail a kid. They would automatically advance to the next grade. Well, you can imagine. I'm going to give you a second to imagine what I think about that. I think it's BS. That is not how the world works. Not at all. And well, okay. Let me just gently step down from the soapbox and leave you to fill in your own blanks about why I think that's such a stupid idea. Okay. Oh, making the same mistake of going too perpendicular here. I almost did it again, people, because I think maybe my eye more than others want things to be, you know, like they are in the real world, upright. Nowhere in the world are things, except maybe with the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Whoops, Leaning Tower of Pisa. You know, nothing in the world is kind of cockeyed like that. Or if it is, it kind of offends our sense of what. Yeah, I'm not sure I like that. I mean, I like it, but I'm thinking it's a little almost too dead center. I shouldn't have gone that far that way. And of course, with our glitter glue, it's too late. Anyway, just to keep this show going, I'm going to put this one up here as well and out of sight. And it'll give me the opportunity to think about that. And again, I'm reserving the right. Should I try to do the orange one? You can see that, okay, as far as the red goes, I have a bunch of red papers here. I have not even started. Oh, and incidentally, most of these images came out of an art book. So, you know, it's, they're beautiful to begin with. So I think I'm going to put the red aside because we don't even have time to think about that. Oh, you know what? I found this. I would be introducing a lot. I mean, I would probably tear. I don't know. I'm going to clip this to this just as something to consider. Okay. Let me show you. Well, maybe I should work on this one because it's, I do have a number of pieces ready to go, and I thought, oh, here's another orange. And then I'll show you my issue with the, this is a tear ruler, but I could still probably make a relatively straight line. I don't know why I keep wanting to do that. Maybe I should change it up. Again, you don't want it like a bullseye. And I think by making this, none of those are 90 degrees, that probably will help me as well. So now I have all these bits. So of course, because some of them have been, I guess maybe they're not getting totally damaged by the fact that they've already been glued down once. Okay, this is pretty intact if I straighten this line. And because I wanted to make my cruciform line very, oh, why am I doing this? I've just said it's not a right angle. But maybe I could do that. See, the other thing, and I don't know if I did that wrong or not, and, you know, someone's going to say, well, there is no wrong, is I didn't lay out all my pieces and think, oh, yes, that is perfection. Do it, do it, do it. Instead, I just began working in each of the 4 quadrants. Now I could do something like this. You can see it doesn't exactly follow the line of the circle. you know, I'm finding the circle a bit challenging, but maybe what I can do. So what I ended up doing when I cut my not my free form circles, but when I cut my circles out of paper instead of trying to work on a circular shape on a substrate, is that I really started using my paper cutter to try to get the marks right, or to get the angles and so on right. So, too bad I can't trust myself that maybe I can do it with a pencil. What I was trying to say is that if I want to keep my lines sharp and accurate, okay, so that's pretty good. Let me just glue that down because I'm starting to annoy myself with this indecision. Anyway, I haven't said it lately, but you guys, new subscribers, old subscribers, well, I shouldn't say old, returning subscribers, warm the cockles of my heart. Now, I'm extending that so I don't have a little tiny sliver there that I have to cover. And of course, I do have some excess to trim. Anyway, you guys make all of this worthwhile. And I'm so grateful that I came up with the idea of doing the heart-to-heart interview series, and that I've, without much thinking or planning, fell into the mixed media lives that I do on Tuesdays, because it really gives, I'm going to try, this was a lady's dress. I'm going to try to reuse this here somewhere. Oh, look, that was going to work quite nicely. So, I mean, those two live elements or live things allow me to interact more meaningfully with viewers. But of course, there's still a place for these sorts of videos that I do on my own, talking to myself, and, you know, scheduling and preparing ahead of time. But I want to say that regardless of whether it's a video that I've done in this format or the lives, I so appreciate having you tune in, sign in, be there, interact, comment, like, subscribe. It's helping my channel grow. Now, this is veering into the orange family, but I mean into the yellow family. It's hard to get... oh, you know what? I clipped the wrong thing to the wrong thing here. This was what I was well, I guess I better show you the yellow one. Okay, so I have this fussy cut pear. Now this is a really dark value. This is a dark value. A lot of light things happening here. For a while there, I was thinking of using this here, but this isn't really, this is more orange than it is yellow. But look how cute that would have been to have this cat, and this is so outrageous for me, have this cat wearing this sunflower collar. But obviously I clipped the wrong thing to there. So let me put the pear here, the butterfly that I just cut out before I turned the camera on, and we'll cross this bridge when we come to it. Okay, so now with this guy in mind, oh, and there's also this. I can have a better shot at making this a nice, you know, pleasing, whatchamacallit, focal point. You know, I could see putting this here. This cat pretty well fills this area. Nose and ears you know, intersect that line. If I pull this down a smidge, it could intersect this line. And I'm thinking that would be a good thing. So, okay, I'm glad I remembered that. Otherwise, I could do, maybe I need this darker bit here so that that little nose really stands out against it. This is damaged. I also have this, which, see that? Yeah, okay. I'm going to be building my, sort of my more solid pieces behind where I'm putting this cat. So, okay, I guess if we're talking about lessons learned, it could be that, that's not the right angle. This is where my inability to figure out angles is going to show. All will be revealed. Okay, this is part of cat fur. That this might have been a tail. Ay, ay, ay. I think I need to put this here simply because I'm going to straighten out this line. I want to also be aware of my value changes. Have you ever sat for a 2-day video? This could be the first. Now, what do I need over here, though? So let's do a pencil mark. Okay. And if I go to that point, I should be good. You'd think I should be able to cut this straight, make this inch-long cut, and have it be good. Cool. Now, of course, the nice torn edge would have been good to have that visible because that's, you know, this thing here. Whoops. But I cannot walk and chew gum, so let's forget that part for the time being. Especially in this case, since the cat will be covering that up. The torn edge disappears. Okay, cool. I think we're making some headway. Now, unfortunately, you know what? I was going through, that's getting pretty close to brown though. I was going through some old calendars that I came across yesterday. And luckily I didn't put them away. That's not orange. But honestly, we need to have value changes. So I'm going to make this work somehow here. Okay, I think I prefer this, but I might as well use one of these that will be mostly covered up. Whoops. I can get my orange that way. There's a bit of brown there. Okay, let's glue this guy down. Now that is not a cut edge, however, it should be okay. Now, I have this unfortunate space around the back of his head. What went wrong? Or how come all of us, well, maybe that's where I had it all along. Okay, slowly but surely losing my mind. Anyway, did I finish saying my thank yous and expressing my gratitude for your presence? I may have gotten sidetracked with a decision here. Anyway, I just want to reinforce that and say that you have no idea how much you mean to me. So keep on coming back. Okay, am I going to see my mark? Yes, there's that one. And there's that one. I think that's going to be good. Now, obviously, I'm not going to put this great big brown thing here. You know what? By pointing those darks to this intersection, that may be a legitimate, technique. This got damaged. It's like a puzzle in a sense. Yeah, I better get rid of all the damaged parts because it's throwing me off and it's misleading how much of this it will actually serve to help me here. Now, mind you, that was now that I've chewed out that notch there, maybe I found a better place to put it. I need some lighter values. Maybe I should put that there. But let's tear this edge. And cut this off. See this whole circle? Way to go, Kelly. Making it harder for us. Actually, I welcome the challenge. Okay. This, I'm sorry, this is obviously turning into something longer than I intended. And maybe what I'll have to do is, well, number one, check the time. And number two, just need something fairly dark under there, I think. Although I said this was going here. Let's just try out. Let's pretend this was 3 so far. 4 darks coming together. Obviously not the right shapes. That could be a plan. So I'll leave that little white thing there. I'm going to glue this down as is, because I think having the odd bit of white showing on a torn edge is a good thing. I should glue this guy down. Yeah, a lot of these, I did a video which has not aired yet, or, well, maybe it will have by the time you see this one, with me going through pouches, or well, big oversized envelopes of scraps that I had been saving for decades, mostly from calendars, but also from, that might not be that bad, of course, trimmed down. Now, I guess the issue I need to be aware of is that if I do go back in with pen work, should have trimmed that side too. If I go back in with pen work, the only thing that's really going to show up on this dark brown will be white. So now this is very close in value, but I think I have to just tear this. Mind you, if I do, then I don't end up with, yoy. I was going to say if I do, I don't end up with that torn, or I mean with that brown thing happening. You know, that brown thing. I think that's going to be good. I can barely see that mark. Okay, so clearly I cannot use all that brown there, so I better do something like that. Won't glue this piece down until I've tucked something underneath. So what should that be? Should it be part of this? Put this boat sideways. Okay, that, oh, okay, happy accident. That, let's hope it doesn't change when I straighten this edge. Just take a whisker off. Oh, speaking of adding white pen, of course, I didn't fussy cut around whiskers. If I glue this, okay, it will cover there. It barely covers the edge of the thing, but now I had better tear somewhere here. Watch me tear it smaller than it should be and create a logistical problemo. Okay, I like that there's a contrast change there, or a value change there. Okay, I'm going to glue this down as far as I can get it without causing myself a little problem at the outer edge. So, slide it over. Oh, there's white starting to show. We cannot have that. Okay. So that could be that, but again, before I cut it, should I put a goldfish in there? Again, I feel compelled to pick a, let me just get myself oriented here again. Or should this fish go here? I could have this fish going, he doesn't have, oh, but wouldn't it be nicer if the cat was looking at the fish? I could do that. Yes, sirree, Bob. Now it feels like I don't want the white edge because that is a lighter. Oh my goodness, that tear covers up part of his nose, or well, fish don't have noses, I guess, but you know what I mean. Maybe how, oh, that was dumb. I don't want him upside down. Maybe he has to be like so. Or maybe glue the fish down and then change the angle. Oh, I could put it underneath. Why do I feel like it has to be on top? It can be underneath. Goofball. Okay. Can't believe we're making some headway here. And I'm sorry if this is giving you a sneak peek into my head, because I know it's a scary place. Very scary. Okie dokie. So, if I glue him there, will I have, oh, I need to soften this edge. And that's the other thing, in working with these odd shapes, these odd geometric shapes, it isn't even that easy to figure out, well, there's math involved, figuring out these angles. Okay, so he can be there. Cool. And his little face, his cute little face, will be visible to all. Okay, that's as far as I can go without creating a white spot there. Again, maybe I'm overly paranoid about white spots. I mean, obviously there will be an introduction of white with this. Oh, look at that. They're nose to nose. Oh, I love it. And it also takes my, it gets me over that whole vertical thing. Okay, let's trim the back so we can really see what's what. Not much to spare there, baby. I remember there, years and years ago, there used to be, I guess there weren't enough body image issues. So there were those commercials, I don't even know who or what or whatever, about pinching an inch. Like, you know, could someone come up to your midriff and would they get an inch or more? Oh, change the angle. Now they're nose to nose. Love it. But now I need something behind. I don't have enough orange papers here. And that one is slightly too narrow to, how about this one? Oh, that's some cat fur there. I could do that, but then that makes, let's put this down here. See what I mean about these angles? I'd be inclined to do that, but then I create that. But then if I do this to follow the arc of the circle, then these become sharp edges that I don't want. I see this wants to come apart. Oh, and it did come apart. Maybe that's a good thing. Okay, tear this. Cut this. And then glue this down. Again, that's very close to that brown, so that might not be a good choice. Anyway, let me glue this unit down. And honestly, this is a little bit like doing, and I love them, doing the painting with paper thing that Gwen, the Trash Witch, and Tony's Magical Arts and Crafts came up with. They do their videos first of the month. So it's this piecing of these itty bitty little things. Now if I were to glue that there, it's what I don't like about that is that it's a very straight edge. And if I start tearing that down, there will be nothing left. How about this scrap? If I do it like so, it'll be good. It'll be good, good, good. Covers up quite a bit of the light value that I'm trying to save or introduce here, but okay, nose to nose. Now I have that little arc area there to fix or whatever. A little too close to his fur color, but maybe it will be perfect over here. If I cut this straight, and if I shave a hair off there, oh, my angle is wrong. But then I lose. Maybe I should. I'll glue this down and trim the excess because, you know, these pieces are getting smaller and smaller and smaller the more I try to get the angles right. I shouldn't have put glue all the way to the edge. I'm scared to look at the time. Okay, fish, cat. I still have my issue over there, but we had got some value things happening there. That's a little too close to that. Now I do have this cat, but I don't know that. I don't think so. Now I could cut him up and use, I could use body parts, which might not be that bad an idea. Maybe I could have that, most of this cat here, or like his essence, like his head. Trying to tear as close to that line as I can. Oh. Oh, dear, dear, dear. If I keep his head and his paw intact, then I have a little triangle here to fit. Let's do this reddish thing here. Again, straight line. And maybe I'm being anal when it comes to, you know, how straight I'm keeping these lines in between, you know, on the cruciform thing. Let's glue this down. They probably could have been torn lines and still be, you know, still be recognizable as what it is. Oh dear. I hope that, well, if you're still here, bless your little hearts. Okay, fish. Fish is my like North Star here, keeping me oriented. Okay, so I could pull this cat down a bit, show more of that intersection of color there. See, that cat is ever vigilant. This cat is oblivious. Okay, so we still have that issue behind its head. Now, if I were to use this, well, that's pretty good. So I don't have to worry about a straight line there. I just have to sort of tear that like so, and then I can trim. Too bad that, oh, if I do it this way, I do that brown line will be cut off anyway, so it doesn't matter. I was going to say it would be nice if I could preserve that little darker brown line, but not to worry. Oops, and again, I'm just trying to position it so I'm not creating. Although, maybe in one of these, and I haven't even pulled any purple papers yet. That's going to take a little bit of a scavenger hunt, I think. And of course, that becomes a focal point by the fact that it's a living thing and the fact that it is so big. So big. Okay, I won't glue that down for the time being. I need to fix something here. And also see whether or not let's straighten this line. See whether or not that idea of having the browns all intersect there is a legitimate design thing. Now this, if I use this piece sort of as I've shaped it there, it interrupts that brown. I could tear this more so it's more like a little arrow. This has a tear in it. If I were to continue the tear, maybe not quite that way. Look at, my goodness. I have more cat parts I could use. See, and no one except you, and I'm sure you can keep a secret, no one but you will even know what this is. So if I put that there, let's just tear this kind of artfully, glue it down, because honestly, this is really taking a long time. But you can see how a person can go down a rabbit hole This is a little damage from the glue having been ripped off there. Okay, I'm pretty well, whoever thought the day would come when I would be saying I'm out of scraps. Out of scraps. That could be good if I just tear it there and then it really becomes unrecognizable as a cat part. However, now I've got the cut edge there. But I don't want to lose that black line, so maybe I'll just go for it. Because I can add more mark making, so let's just do it. Then I'll pull back in the blue and the green one. We'll take a look-see, and now this is going to be very close to that color, so let's just cut this. Not the greatest thing I've ever seen. Cut this straight. Yeah, so what if there's a... Oh no, that's paper. I was going to say, so what if the background is showing, but it's not. Okay, so are we ready? Glue this guy down. Get the angle just right. I'm kind of putting his chin on this line. I guess I can decide to... I could move him as close as I can to that fish without... Do I give myself more options by doing that? Probably. Yeah, what the heck. I'll glue that in there. Again, I hope that, well, you know, I was going to say, I hope that this convinces you that when you see a call for artists, that you should just go for it, because there are definite benefits to doing it, whether you follow through and enter or not, whether your work gets selected or not. Not so sure I like that. Maybe like so would be better. Okay. Yeah. Now this feels a bit... I think I could bring this down over the intersection now that I have freed up that space there. Or is it better there? I think it needs to break this line here. Do it. Just do it. And again, after I've had a chance to consider this from all angles, different times of day and night, and after I've gotten away from, you know, the anal focus that I have on it right this second, then I should be able to see or fix any potential issues by with lines, with pen marks. So I will have to add some whiskers in there in white. I don't know. Okay. Let me pull some of these, get these scraps out of here so that you can see what these three nearly finished pieces look like. Whoops. Oh, got something. get through the video and then worry about it. Okay, so remember, this green one is kind of, and this I'm not sure about. Don't they look cool together? They look so cool together. I don't know what you think, but I'm thinking that they're cool. Even if I don't do a darn thing with them. They're very cool. Anyway, I hope this has proven something. I set out to prove something. I hope I did. Anyway, oh dear, an hour and 10 minutes. Okay, guys, I don't know about you, but I had a challenging but exciting time making this. And I hope you enjoyed the process, and I hope you seriously consider answering a call for submissions wherever and whenever you see it, because there are benefits, whether you pull the trigger at the end, whether you win or not, whether you get selected or not. It's definitely worth challenging yourself as an artist and letting someone else set the parameters for your project and seeing how well you can satisfy those requirements. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, and you can be sure that I will, at some future date, I will let you see all 6 of these when they're done. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.